Welcome back to the Islamic Storybook. In the previous episode, we began exploring the story of Prophet Adam alayhis salam, the beginning of humanity and the unfolding of divine wisdom. In this episode, we continue that journey as the story progresses and deeper lessons begin to emerge. Lessons about obedience, trial, responsibility, and mercy. This narration is drawn from the Quran and authentic prophetic teachings. Let us continue our story. Part 4. The Prostration and the Fall of Iblis, the Divine Command. With Adam standing before the assembly, fully alive, fully conscious, and demonstrating his capacity for divine knowledge, Allah issued a command that would test every being present. And mention when we said to the angels, "Prostrate before Adam," and they prostrated, except for Iblis. He refused and was arrogant and became of the disbelievers. Surah Al-Baqarah 234. This prostration was not an act of worship. Worship belongs to Allah alone. Rather, it was an act of respect, of acknowledgement, of honoring the divine trust and spirit that had been placed within Adam. It was a bow of recognition to Allah's choice and wisdom. The angels understood this immediately. They saw beyond the clay to the divine secret within. They recognized that this command was a test of their obedience and humility. The angels' obedience. Without hesitation, without question, without the slightest pause, all the angels fell into prostration. In perfect unity, they bowed before Adam, honoring Allah's command and recognizing the station he had granted to this new creation. So the angels prostrated, all of them entirely. Surah Al-Hijr 15:30. It was a moment of cosmic harmony. The beings of light, who had never known disobedience, demonstrated once again their complete submission to their Lord's will. They did not compare themselves to Adam. They did not feel diminished by honoring him. They understood that true greatness lies in obedience to Allah, not in one's own perceived superiority. The refusal of Iblis. But one figure remained standing. Iblis, who had circled Adam's form with contempt when it was lifeless clay. Iblis, who had grown proud through his long years of worship. Iblis, who had elevated himself among the angels, he refused. Except Iblis. He refused and was arrogant and became of the disbelievers. Surah Al-Baqarah 234. In that moment of refusal, in that act of defiance, Iblis transformed from a worshipper into a rebel. His pride, which had been growing like a cancer in his heart, finally burst forth in open disobedience. The divine questioning. Allah, who knows all things, who knew what was in Iblis's heart before the command was ever given, asked him. Allah said, "O Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to that which I created with my hands? Were you arrogant then, or were you already among the haughty?" Surah Sad 38:75. Note the question. What prevented you? Not, why didn't you want to? But what was the barrier? Because Allah was exposing the disease in Iblis's heart, his arrogance. And Iblis, in his delusion, spoke words that have echoed through history as the archetypal statement of pride. He said, "I am better than him. You created me from fire and created him from clay." Surah Sad 38:76. There it was, the poison fully revealed. Iblis believed he could judge Allah's wisdom. He believed the substance of creation determined its value. He believed fire was superior to clay, and therefore he was superior to Adam. But his logic was fundamentally flawed. Fire burns and destroys. Clay provides foundation and nurtures growth. Fire rises and dissipates. Clay remains and builds. But more importantly, Allah had placed His Spirit in Adam, and no material, no substance, no element could ever compare to that divine honor. Iblis compared the containers but ignored the contents. He saw the clay but not the spirit. He measured worth by origin rather than by divine choice. The expulsion. Allah's judgment was swift and absolute. Allah said, "Then get out of it, for indeed you are expelled, and indeed upon you is my curse until the day of recompense." Surah Sad 38:77-78. Iblis was cast out from the divine presence. He was removed from the ranks of the angels. He was expelled from paradise. The proximity to Allah that he had enjoyed through his worship was severed because of his arrogance and disobedience. But Iblis was not done. In his bitterness, he made a request. He said, "My Lord, then reprieve me until the day they are resurrected." Surah Sad 38:79. And Allah, in His wisdom, granted this request. Allah said, "So indeed, you are of those reprieved until the day of the time well known." Surah Sad 38:80-81. Why would Allah grant Iblis this delay? Why give him time until the day of judgment? Because the test of humanity required it. The choice between good and evil must be real. The struggle between righteousness and sin must be genuine. Free will means nothing without temptation and trial. The vow of enmity. With his reprieve granted, Iblis made a vow that revealed his true intentions. Iblis said, "By your might, I will surely mislead them all except among them your chosen servants." Surah Sad 38:82-83. He would dedicate his existence to leading humanity astray. He would sit on the straight path and attack from every direction. Then I will come to them from before them and from behind them and on their right and on their left, and you will not find most of them grateful to you. Surah Al-Araf 7:17. But Allah's response established the boundary of Iblis's power. Allah said, "Indeed, my servants, no authority will you have over them, except those who follow you of the deviators." Surah Al-Hijr 15:42. Iblis could whisper, suggest, tempt, and deceive, but he could never force. Those who remain sincere to Allah, who hold fast to faith and righteousness, would be protected from his influence. He would have power only over those who willingly followed him. And so the stage was set. Adam stood as the honored creation, blessed with knowledge and spirit. Iblis stood as the eternal enemy, armed with cunning and grudge. And between them, the great test of humanity would unfold. Part 5. The Garden and the Companion. Paradise on Earth. Allah placed Adam in a magnificent garden, a place of beauty, tranquility, and abundance beyond description. And we said, "O Adam, dwell, you and your wife, in paradise and eat therefrom in ease and abundance from wherever you will." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:35. This garden was unlike anything we can fully imagine. Some scholars from the Ahl al-Bayt tradition suggest this was a garden on earth, elevated and blessed, rather than the eternal paradise of the hereafter. It was a transitional realm, a place of preparation for the mission that awaited Adam. In this garden, there was no hunger to torment him, no thirst to trouble him, no scorching heat to cause discomfort. Indeed, it is promised for you not to be hungry therein or be unclothed. And indeed, you will not be thirsty therein or be hot from the sun. Surah Taha 20, 118-119. Every fruit hung within easy reach. Every stream flowed with pure water. Every breeze carried the scent of flowers. The very atmosphere was one of peace and serenity, the creation of Hawa. But Adam was alone. He walked through this paradise without a companion, without someone to share in his experience, without a partner in his existence. Allah, in his perfect wisdom and mercy, knew that this magnificent creation needed completion. Humanity was not meant to be solitary. And so, from Adam's own essence, from the same noble substance from which he was created, Allah fashioned Hawa, Eve, whose name means the living one, or giver of life. O mankind, fear your Lord, who created you from one soul and created from it its mate, and dispersed from both of them many men and women. Surah An-Nisa 4:1. She was not created from a crooked rib, as some misinterpretations suggest, implying a flaw. Rather, she was created as his equal, his partner, his companion in dignity and purpose. Created from the same clay, infused with the same type of spirit, granted the same human dignity. It is He who created you from one soul and created from it its mate, that he might dwell in tranquility with her. Surah Al-A'raf 7:189. The partnership. When Adam saw Hawa, his heart found its completion. Here was someone who understood him, who shared his nature, who could walk beside him through this existence. Together they dwelt in the garden in perfect harmony. They spoke and laughed together. They explored the vast expanse of paradise. They tasted its fruits and rested in its shade. They praised Allah together and marveled at His creation. Their relationship was the prototype for all human relationships, based on mutual respect, complementarity, shared purpose, and devotion to their Creator. The single prohibition. In all this abundance, in all this freedom, Allah gave them one boundary. But do not approach this tree, lest you be among the wrongdoers. Surah Al-Baqarah 235. One tree. In an entire garden of countless trees, countless fruits, countless pleasures, one tree was forbidden to them. This was not deprivation. This was education. This was the establishment of divine boundaries. This was teaching them that freedom is not the absence of all limits, but the wise navigation of boundaries set by the Creator. What was this tree? The Quran doesn't specify. Some traditions say it was wheat, others say grapes. Some say it represented a certain knowledge or state not yet meant for them. The exact identity matters less than the principle. Allah sets boundaries, and within those boundaries lies our peace and success. The tree itself was not evil. The fruit was not poisonous to their bodies. The prohibition was a test of trust, of obedience, of choosing Allah's command over one's own desire. Adam and Hawa lived in blissful contentment, surrounded by every blessing, needing only to avoid this one thing. The test seemed simple. The boundary was clear, but they had not yet experienced the whispers of Iblis. Part 6. The whisper and the lapse, the enemy's approach. Iblis, cast out from divine presence, burning with envy and rage, watching Adam and Hawa in their paradise. He could not bear it. He had vowed to mislead humanity, and he would begin with their father and mother. But how could he approach them? How could he speak to them when they had been warned about him? He needed disguise. He needed deception. He needed to present himself not as their enemy, but as their friend. But Satan whispered to them to make apparent to them that which was concealed from them of their private parts. Surah Al-A'raf 7:20. The false advice. Iblis approached them with the appearance of concern, with the tone of a sincere advisor, with the manner of one who cared about their well-being. He said, "Your Lord did not forbid you this tree except that you become angels or become of the immortal." Surah Al-A'raf 7:20. What a masterful lie. What clever manipulation. He didn't tell them to disobey Allah. He didn't suggest open rebellion. Instead, he reframed the prohibition as something done to limit them, to keep them from achieving something greater. "Why would Allah forbid you this tree?" he whispered. "It must be because this tree grants immortality. It must be because this tree will make you like the angels. Allah doesn't want you to reach that level. He wants to keep you limited, restricted, beneath your potential." He planted doubt about Allah's wisdom. He suggested that divine boundaries were obstacles rather than protections. He made them question whether Allah truly wanted what was best for them, the false oath. And then, to make his deception complete, Iblis did something that Adam, in his innocence, could not imagine anyone doing. And he swore by Allah to them, "Indeed, I am to you from among the sincere advisors." Surah Al-A'raf 7:21. He swore by Allah's name. He invoked the divine to support his lie. Adam and Hawa, who had never encountered deception, who lived in a realm of purity and truth, could not conceive that anyone would dare to swear falsely by Allah's name. If someone swore by Allah, surely they must be telling the truth. This was their innocence. This was their noble assumption of good in others. And this was what Iblis exploited. The moment of forgetfulness. They began to consider his words. The doubt took root. The curiosity grew. Perhaps just one taste? Perhaps just to see? Perhaps the prohibition wasn't as serious as they thought? So he made them fall through deception. Surah Al-A'raf 7:22. Adam and Hawa approached the tree. They reached out. They took from it. They ate. But understand this carefully. Their act was not one of deliberate rebellion against Allah. It was not arrogance like that of Iblis. It was not a desire to challenge divine authority. Rather, it was a moment of nisyan, forgetfulness. And we had already taken a promise from Adam before, but he forgot. And we found not in him determination. Surah Taha 20:115. They forgot the warning in the moment of temptation. They chose the less optimal path. In Islamic theology, this is called tark al-awla, leaving the better for something lesser. It was not a sin in the legal sense that brings punishment, but rather a human weakness, a slip, a moment where desire overcame remembrance. The immediate consequence. The moment they tasted from the tree, everything changed. And when they tasted of the tree, their private parts became apparent to them, and they began to fasten together over themselves from the leaves of paradise. Surah Al-A'raf 7:22. The spiritual garments that had clothed them in modesty were removed. They became aware of their physical vulnerability, their nakedness, their exposure. The state of innocence was lifted, replaced by awareness and shame. Frantically, they grabbed leaves from the garden, trying to cover themselves, their hearts filled with regret. The sweetness of the fruit turned bitter in their mouths. The pleasure of the moment evaporated, leaving only the weight of their mistake. The divine call. Then they heard the voice of Allah, not harsh or vengeful, but firm and questioning. And their Lord called to them, "Did I not forbid you from that tree and tell you that Satan is to you a clear enemy?" Surah Al-A'raf 7:22. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment of truth. How would Adam and Hawa respond? Would they blame others? Would they make excuses? Would they try to justify their actions? As we pause here, our journey with Prophet Adam alayhis salam is not yet complete. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we continue this story and explore the lessons that follow. If this story helped you reflect or learn something new, please like the video. It helps these stories reach others. Subscribe to the Islamic Storybook so you don't miss the next chapter. Peace be upon you.